Great. All right, so we're going to be switching into part 3 now. And in part 3, we're going to be talking about those detailed tables.
Yes.
So we've been going over the data profiles, which is like a snapshot, and it gives you some of the information that's available for the American Community Survey, but this detailed tables really will get you down into the granular level.
Yes.
Okay, all right, so let's get started on part 3.
Okay, so what we'll do right now is I'm going to go back to advanced search from my DPs, and I'm going to exclude completely the counties from here. I want to start from scratch with detailed tables. The difference with detailed tables and profiles is with detailed tables, you just have to start filtering down by topics. So it's not too difficult. You just have to filter down. Let's start with selecting geographies. And this time, I want to make sure we select cities and towns. I believe a lot of you will be interested. So just remember that the geographic type we need to select is county subdivision.
That is the euphemism for cities and towns.
Yes.
Okay.
So we go to county subdivisions and we go down to select a state. And here we go with Vermont right here. And I'm going to select the county where we are.
Chittenden County.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And all this, I want to look at all cities and towns within Chittenden County. So I'm going to check the first one instead of selecting them individually. I'll put it in my basket.
So we're in American Fact Finder, we're selecting our geography, but this time we're looking at the detailed tables.
Correct.
And not the data profiles like we did in part
Correct.
2. Okay.
So I have my geography in the shopping basket, which on your own, I think we're going to have time. You can always move to map and see the map of the geography you selected. Again, geography, the profiles show up, but now we don't want them. We want detailed tables. And as you remember, we do have now we have about 16,000 tables. This is a whole lot. So how do you filter down? First thing you want to do here is work with topics. We have 3 years and 5-year estimate available. Knowing that we are working with cities and towns, the first thing I would do just to reduce this amount of tables here, just select 5-year estimate. So go here in topics, and where you see data sets, expand that and choose a 5-year estimate. Of course, you could go back in time if you want, but I want to stay with the most current. So just by saying to the system, I only want tables that are 5-year estimate, I'm down to 1,000 tables. It's a lot more doable,
better.
right? It's how I feel. So
Still a lot, though.
It's still a lot. So now you can start narrowing down by variable.
Perfect.
So let me collapse the data set. And these are my variables, people variables and housing variables. Let's say I want to look for a poverty table. So I can look through all these variables and expand them. Poverty is right here. And you can look at poverty, heating and cooling assistance, or food stamps. Let's go with poverty. The number next to poverty or any of these topics is just the number of tables you would see after you select that. So we know if we put poverty in this basket, this is down to 76.
That's great.
And let me tell you about my best practice with detailed tables. I don't like to add more than 2 variables in that basket. You could add many, but more you add, more you're narrowing down, and you may miss on some really good tables.
So if we put in poverty and food stamps.
Let's see if its food stamp is available in combination. Yeah, so you would bring down to 3 tables, right?
Okay.
If that's what you want, great. But if you start adding more,
Yeah.
you may end up missing on some tables that it may have food stamp in the content, but it's not on the title.
Right.
And these are trying to filter down by the title of the table. Okay?
So it's better just to keep it a little bit broader with the variables and just stick to 2.
I try to. Sometimes I go to 3, but I try. And if you look at here, let me exclude food stamps. Let me exclude food stamps from here. I have this thing that if I have 50 tables, I don't filter down anymore. We have 76. I could filter down if I want, or I could just leave it there. Right now, I will filter down. Hold on. Before I do this, let me close and show you. Remember that poverty table I earlier, just by adding the bookmark I added, it was this one, S1703. So some of them are right away showing to you. And you could look at those 76 tables by doing 2 things. Just reading the title, seeing if it interests you. But if you don't really want to click on the table and take that time, we offer you this icon right here, About, and that shows the shell of the table. So let's try with this table that we already looked at it earlier. So if you click on the About, you have the matrix of the table. So you would know the table would show what it would show in the column and what would show in the rows. So you'll be able to find all these variables.
So you could look at all the information included in that table, but it's not going to take the same amount of time to load your data for your geography.
Yes.
So it's just a quick way to check that out.
A quick way to say, oh, this is not what I need, or this is what I need. If you want to search through like 76 tables. Or let me filter down again, and let's say poverty with maybe education or income.
Sure, yeah. Well, education, that's been our theme for the day, I think.
Okay, here we go. If I mix with education attainment, now I'm narrowing down to 2 tables.
Oh.
Poverty of individuals by sex, by education, and then of families by household, by type of education attainment. And again, you could look at the icon about and see if they suit your needs, or you can just click on the table and see the content. Which here again, we're going to have our cities and towns. You'd have to keep moving through the columns. And you're going to have, again, the table talk about sex. So you're going to have the male and the female. You're going to have their level of education. Okay, so, and then you're going to have a female, hold on, yep. And then with the income below the poverty level and income above the poverty level. So you divide it into 2 groups here. Okay. Again, as we did with the profiles, the detail tables can also be modified, bookmarked, downloaded, and mapped.
All the same stuff. So if I'm here and I want to, maybe this isn't the table on, how do I get back?
You can go back to step 1 by clicking here, or just back to advanced search.
Perfect.
Okay. And let's say I don't want education, I want to go back to my 76 poverty tables. You could do that just by deleting. Or maybe I want to match poverty now with something else, maybe with employment. So you go here and match with employment. Let's say I want just to know the status. People have jobs or not.
Yeah.
And they're poor. And then you get 7 tables. And then you can also look through these tables and find. So the detail tables, again, profiles, you put a geography, you get them. With the detail tables, you have a geography, you just be mix and matching the variables. Again, like you're shopping for a book, you can get the author there, but then you can try to find different titles of the same author. So you're doing this with these tables. You're mixing and matching variables. One good practice before you really start working in the system is to go and check all the variables available. Put a geography here, go to topics, and start expanding all these variables. Of course, right now we're not seeing all of them because poverty employment is narrowing down. Every time you put elements here, it starts changing the way the system behaves, and it's only making available variables that would be able to combine with poverty or employment. So if I delete employment, it may even change the number of variables I can see now, which is many more.
So it's really important to go in and see what your options are in topics once you've chosen that geography for your detailed tables, so that you can see what am I looking for, what's available, start narrowing it down, stick to about 2, possibly 3 variables, and start tracking how many tables are available so you know you're not eliminating possible data.
Yeah, that could be good tables for you. Just one last example. Do you have time for one more?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. So let me think of, let's go with education theme. We are an organization fighting for the rights of females in the workplace. So let's talk about income inequality. So right now we're going to find which cities and towns in the state, the county, Chelan County, we want to go protest this weekend because women are making as much as males. So to start my search, I would say
glass ceiling.
Yeah, exactly. So let's look at a table where you could see what's the median income for males and females with the same educational level. Male and females have bachelor's degree. Let's see if there's an income disparity in there. So let's find a table for that.
Great.
So if I go in this system, again, the first thing I would do is put my geography. So we already have our county subdivisions. I'm going to delete data sets so I can show you again how to grab that. So I have all my 16,000 tables for 3 years and 5 years. I'm going to go and narrow by data set by saying, give me only 5 years.
5 years, and the most recent year, if we want that.
If you want, that's what you want. So I'm down to my 1,000 tables. And now I need to start thinking, what are the variables that I really need in order to get to this data? Well, in this case, I'm going to need gender, because I'm looking at male, female. I'm going to need education, because I want to make sure they have the same educational level. And I'm going to need income. So here you're talking about 3 variables that you may want to use. So I'm going to start by adding here from people. I'm going to add first one, sex, right here. And start narrowing down. Now I have 195 tables. I can go to education and put education attainment. And now I'm 14 tables. Traditionally, I would stop right here. I would not even add income because most likely you would find that same table right here. So you could start looking, like you have a table education attainment. It doesn't say anything about income, right?
Yeah.
But then you have this table, let's say, okay, median earnings by sex by education attainment. That sounds like perfect,
Yeah,
right?
that sounds great.
So we can check this table. So we didn't even need to add income there. And this table give us, let's see here, okay, by city and town, male, female, with bachelor's degree. Let's say in Bolton, their median income, and then the median income of females. And you can keep going by city and looking at that.
That's great. So that's a really clear way if you've got this piece of data that you're going to use because you want to maybe mobilize some people or get some information out to your stakeholders, then you can ask that question and then think about which variables you need to look at.
Yes.
And in what geographic area.
And if you already have your profiles available for you in PDF, take a look if the data is not there, because sometimes it's right there. If not, just go into detailed tables. And I just want to go back to the list of tables we had right now, because we did select a table that clearly had the information because the title was very clear to us. But if I had add income here, I would be missing education attainment. It would exclude. There's no income in this title. But look at this table inside. That's why I don't narrow down so much. This is a beautiful table because it gives me the male-female information I need, correct? It gives me here not only poverty by education attainment, but also give me income by education attainment. So here I could see, same thing, bachelor's degree, the income of males and females. So this table also would give me that information, but if you narrow down, you may not see it. That's why I keep within the 50 tables or less. That's just my best practice,
Yeah, absolutely.
So you can have more options of now not only looking at income, but you have an option of taking a look at poverty. You can take a look at race. You can look at other things available.
And it sounds like really you shouldn't be afraid to just go and check out a table and see, is this going to work for me?
Yes.
Once you've narrowed down your list to 50 or less.
I know. And again, it's not like a sink and swim workshop or even in the system, especially if you don't use every day like I do. It's kind of easy to forget. Go to guided search, let the system help you refresh on everything, or call me. I think having my contact information, it's important. So if you have a data question, you have that grant, you have a deadline, you need to find the data, you can figure it out. Just call me, I can walk you through even via webinar.
You are the data dissemination specialist for this area.
Yes.
So
yes.
if folks in Vermont have a question about how to access data or maybe which variable to look at, which table,
yes.
they can contact you.
Yes.
You can help them with that,
Yes.
that process. That's such a great resource.
The only thing I ask is give me at least like 2-3 days from your deadline. That way if I'm in a workshop, like today I'm all day in workshops, I have at least a chance to get back to you tomorrow and things like that.
And if there's organizations maybe in a region or folks that are working on projects and they wanted to have you come and do a training, you're available to do that as well.
Yes, they just need to send me an email or a phone call. We plan a date and I'll come. It's a free service from the Census Bureau. We want to make sure we can serve our data users so they can continue to use our data and benefit from it, from their planning and grants. So they can always call me and I'll be glad. I'm always glad to come to Burlington or to Vermont anywhere. It's just always glad to get invited over. So.
That's fantastic. Thank you all for tuning in today. If there's any last minute calls, we'll absolutely take them. Otherwise, we just want to thank Alexandra for coming on and helping us, because as we're trying to build this culture of accountability in Vermont, and we can't do that without the data. And so this American Community Survey data and the census data is just so critical to help nonprofits make really informed decisions and hopefully have a bigger impact.
Thank you.
So you can find more information. I'm going to be sending this out to folks, and as well it'll be on commongoodvermont.org. You can contact Alexandra. Her email is up on the screen, and also it'll be available in the PowerPoint that will be with this broadcast. So thank you all for tuning in, and good luck with your census data searches.